In this video, I will show you 8 science-backed habits from neuroscience, behavioral psychology, and elite performance research that you've never heard about. Over the past few years, I've been obsessed with understanding why some people seem unstoppable, how they think, how they recover, how they stay consistent when others burn out. What I found is that success isn't random. It's built on small, repeatable patterns that shape how your brain and body respond to challenges. Instead of resisting temptation, use temptation bundling. Take something you're addicted to and only allow yourself to have it while doing something you've been avoiding. A Wharton study showed gym attendance went up 51% when people could only listen to favorite audiobooks there. Not because people suddenly loved exercise, but because they loved their audiobooks and had to go to the gym to hear them. I do this with everything now. Favorite shows? Only while on the treadmill. That podcast I love? Only during meal prep. That expensive snack I crave? Only while doing my most boring work tasks. The rule is strict. You only get the temptation during the behavior you're trying to build. No cheating. This flips the script entirely. Instead of fighting your brain's desire for instant gratification, you're redirecting it. Now, the things I'm addicted to are the exact things that drive my best behaviors. When I was struggling with productivity, everyone told me to find a mentor, read expert books, get coaching, and I did. It helped a little, but you know what helped more? Teaching someone else about the exact thing I was struggling with. Research from the University of Chicago proved it. When middle schoolers gave advice about studying instead of receiving it, they studied 38% more. When unemployed people gave job search advice instead of getting expert tips, they were more motivated and got better results. When you give advice, you're forced to clarify what you actually know and believe. You have to organize your thoughts into something coherent. And once you tell someone else to do something, your brain wants to avoid being a hypocrite, so you follow your own advice. Now, when I'm stuck on something, I find someone less experienced, and I coach them through it. I write guides, I answer questions online about my struggle area, and somehow, by teaching the thing I'm bad at, I get better at it faster than studying ever made me. This one changed how I study anything. Instead of trying to avoid mistakes, I deliberately make them, on purpose, even when I know the right answer. Research from 2022 found that when you intentionally get something wrong and then immediately correct it, you remember it way better than if you never made the mistake at all. They call it the daring effect. The surprise your brain feels when you realize you were wrong creates a stronger memory than just learning it correctly the first time. Here's the key. The mistake has to be related to the real concept, and you have to fix it right away. So when I'm learning something new, I'll write down a wrong definition first, then cross it out and write the correct one. For language learning, I'll construct a grammatically incorrect sentence on purpose, identify why it's wrong, then write it correctly. Your brain pays more attention to errors than to correct information, so creating that error and then correcting it makes the right information stick better. It's like highlighting in your brain, except instead of a yellow marker, you're using the emotional surprise of being wrong. The law of attraction tells you to visualize success and think positive. Just imagine your goal achieved and it'll happen. I tried that. It felt good, but nothing changed. Turns out there's science showing pure positive fantasizing actually reduces achievement. What works is something called mental contrasting, and it has a formula. WOOP, wish, outcome, obstacle, plan. First, you identify your wish, a specific goal. Then you visualize the best possible outcome in vivid detail. So far, this is normal positive visualization, but here's where it gets different. Next, you identify the main internal obstacle that will stop you. Not external stuff you can't control, but the thing inside you that will sabotage this. Finally, you create an if-then plan and repeat it 3 times to encode it in your brain. Studies show people doubled their physical activity using this method. The contrast between the positive outcome and the realistic obstacle creates urgency and mobilizes action. I do this for every major goal now. The outcome gets me excited, but the obstacle keeps me realistic, and the plan makes it automatic. Every amateur makes the same mistake with training. They think more effort equals more results, so they train at medium-high intensity all the time. It feels productive. It's actually the silent killer of progress. Elite endurance athletes do something called polarized training. They spend 80% of their training at low intensity, easy, conversational pace, and only 20% at high intensity, brutal, max effort sessions. They deliberately avoid the medium zone that feels hard but isn't hard enough to trigger real adaptation. The research shows this approach improves peak performance by 17% more than constantly grinding at moderate intensity. The reason is that making easy days truly easy gives you the recovery capacity to make hard days truly hard. I applied this beyond just physical training. I stopped living in constant medium mental strain. The discipline isn't in training harder. The discipline is in training easier on easy days. On my easy days, I go so easy that I could hold a full conversation. On hard days, I go so hard that I can barely think. After you study or practice something new, what do you usually do? Immediately move to the next thing. Check your phone, start another task? That's destroying your memory formation. Research analyzing 77 studies found that taking just 10 minutes of quiet rest after learning significantly improves memory. During wakeful rest, your brain engages in memory consolidation patterns similar to sleep, but while you're awake. Here's what I do. After any significant learning session, I set a timer for 10 minutes. I sit in a quiet spot with my eyes closed and do literally nothing. No phone, no music, no planning. Just quiet wakefulness. It feels like wasted time. That's exactly why most people never do it. But doing nothing isn't neutral for memory. It's actively beneficial. Your brain needs uninterrupted time to process what you just learned. Jumping to another activity creates interference. 10 minutes of doing nothing after learning is more valuable than 10 additional minutes of studying. Everyone says complete one task before starting another. Finish what you start. Clear your desk at the end of the day. I do the exact opposite strategically. Research found that waiters remembered incomplete orders twice as well as completed ones. Recent studies found that strategic procrastinators were 28% more creative than people who finish everything immediately. When you start a task, your brain creates cognitive tension that keeps the task active in working memory. Completion releases that tension. Incompletion keeps it hot. Adam Grant, the highest rated professor at Wharton, deliberately does this. He starts replying to complex emails, leaves them as drafts mid-sentence, and moves on. His subconscious continues processing solutions during that offline time. I stop writing mid-sentence when ending a session. For projects, I break at 80% completion rather than 100%. The optimal window is 1 to 3 days for complex work, but for creative work, strategic work, anything requiring deep thinking, incompletion keeps your subconscious engaged and leads to better solutions. You know how everyone says you need complete silence to focus? That's actually wrong for most difficult mental work. Scientists discovered something called stochastic resonance. Adding the right kind of background noise to your environment actually makes your brain process information better. When you're working on something really hard, your brain is trying to pick up weak signals. Adding a specific amount of random noise helps those weak signals become strong enough for you to notice them. Studies show people improve their performance by 40% on complex visual tasks just by adding controlled noise. It's like how sometimes a tiny bit of static on a radio actually helps you hear the music more clearly. Here's what I do. When I'm doing really hard mental work, I don't use silence. I use brown noise or pink noise at a moderate volume. Not music with words, just background sound. Coffee shop noise levels work too. Complete silence feels productive, but it's not optimal. Your brain actually processes weak signals better with some noise in the system. Let's recap everything. Weaponize your addictions. Give advice instead of taking it. Make mistakes on purpose. Think positively and negatively. Train easier, not harder. Do nothing after learning. Never finish what you start. Add noise to focus. But here's the problem. These habits only work if you know how to apply them across multiple skills without burning out. That's exactly what I covered in my last video on how to actually become a polymath. If you want these habits to actually transform your life, watch that video next.